Welcome to The Explainer. We're about to jump into a high-stakes story from the ancient world, packed with civil war, foreign armies, and just stunning betrayal. It all kicks off when a change in power in a faraway empire gives a local faction a very dangerous idea, sparking a conflict that's going to put the very soul of a nation on the line.
All right, before we get into the action, we need to know who's who. Think of it like a chessboard. In one corner, you've got the regional superpower, the Seleucid Empire, now led by its new king, Demetrius I, along with his top generals, Bacchides and Nicanor. And in the other corner, right inside Judea, there's this bitter civil strife. You've got Alcimus, who desperately wants to be the high priest, and he sees one man standing in his way, the rebel leader Judas Maccabeus. As you can see, they are all on an inevitable collision course.
So here's where it all begins. Demetrius takes the throne in this big, powerful kingdom. Now, for most folks in Judea, this is just news from a distant land. But for a certain faction, led by our friend Alcimus, who wants that top job, this isn't just news, it's a golden opportunity.
And this is where things get, well, political. Alcimus knows he can't beat Judas on his own, so he goes straight to the new king with a very clever story. He frames his own people as loyal friends of the empire and then drops this bombshell accusation. Judas and his brethren have slain all thy friends. It's a calculated lie designed to get the king's army to do his dirty work for him.
And you know what? It works. King Demetrius, probably eager to flex his muscles as the new guy in charge, totally buys it. He doesn't just give Alcimus his blessing, he sends a top general, Bacchides, with a massive army. The mission is crystal clear. Put Alcimus in power and get revenge. Just like that, an internal feud has exploded into an international war. So, Bacchides and Alcimus march into Judea with this huge force. But here's the twist. They don't attack. Not right away. Their first weapon isn't the spear or the sword, it's deception. This is where the politics get really nasty.
Instead of threats, they send out messengers with peaceable words. They talk of peace, of finding a solution, but Judas Maccabeus, he's not buying it. He sees the giant army at their back and knows this is no peace mission. He's seen this kind of trick before, and he and his men refuse to even meet with them.
But not everyone is so skeptical. A group of scribes, along with some very devout Jews called the Assassines, they decide to take the offer at face value. Their thinking is, well, tragically simple. They figure, Alcimus is a priest from the line of Aaron. Surely he won't harm us. They decide to trust him. That trust is answered with absolute brutality. Just as the text says, Alcimus and Bacchides grab 60 of the men who came to them looking for peace, and they execute every single one of them in one day. Any hope for a peaceful end to this is just gone. Fear sweeps across the land. So Bacchides eventually leaves, figuring he's put Alcimus in charge and the job is done. Big mistake. The second he's gone, Judas Maccabeus hits back. He sees the chaos Alcimus is causing and goes on the offensive, completely driving his faction out of the countryside. Defeated, Alcimus does the only thing he can. He runs straight back to the king to complain. And this brings us to an even deadlier chapter in this war. The king, furious that his plan failed, doesn't back down. No, he doubles down. He sends a new general, one of his most powerful and honored princes, a guy named Nicanor, who's infamous for his deadly hate unto Israel.
And this slide right here tells you everything you need to know. The mission has changed, big time. Bacchides was sent to take vengeance, basically a punishment mission. But Nicanor, his orders are to destroy the people. This isn't about politics anymore. This has become a mission of annihilation.
Now, you're not going to believe this, but Nicanor tries the exact same trick. He shows up offering friendly words, suggesting a nice, peaceful chat with Judas. But Judas has learned the hard way. That massacre of the Assassinians wasn't for nothing. He smells the trap a mile away, realizes they're just trying to grab him, and cuts off all contact. The trap fails. Okay, so with trickery off the table, Nicanor has to actually fight. At a place called Kafr Salama, the armies finally clash. And wow, Judas's forces hand the professional Seleucid army a crushing defeat. We're talking 5,000 of Nicanor's men killed. The rest are forced to flee in disgrace back to Jerusalem. Humiliated and absolutely furious, Nicanor storms up to the Holy Temple. And when the priests come out to greet him peacefully, he just mocks them. Then, in a fit of pure rage, he makes this horrifying vow. He swears that if he doesn't get Judas, he will come back and burn the entire temple to the ground.
He just made this war personal and sacred. By threatening the temple, Nicanor has crossed a line. This isn't just about rebellion anymore. This is a holy war. What comes next is the final winner-take-all battle for the very future of Judea. As his tiny army prepares to fight, Judas offers this prayer. It's a direct answer to Nicanor's arrogance. He's not just asking for a military victory, he's asking for a sign, for divine justice against the man who dared to threaten God's holy house. And just look at this number. 3,000. That's all Judas has. 3,000 men going up against Nicanor's massive professional army. The odds are just impossible. They are the ultimate underdogs. But then the battle begins, and the very first person to fall is Nicanor himself. The commander who blasphemed against the temple is the first one killed in the fight. Can you imagine the shock? It's a catastrophic blow to his army's morale. The second their leader is dead, Nicanor's army just breaks. They drop their weapons and they run for their lives. Judas's men chase them down, with trumpets blaring the alarm to all the nearby towns to cut off the retreat. The result is an absolutely stunning victory. The source is chillingly clear. Not one of them was left. And as a final sign of justice, Nicanor's head and the very hand he raised in his blasphemous oath were cut off and hung up facing Jerusalem. This victory was so huge, so meaningful, that the people immediately declared that the date of the battle, the 13th day of the month Adar, should be celebrated every year as a day of joy. It became a brand new holiday, a permanent monument to their impossible victory. And the story ends on this simple, powerful, and honestly slightly haunting note. The war is over, the enemy is gone, there is peace. But those words, a little while, they just hang in the air, don't they? They suggest this incredible peace might just be temporary. And that's the question we're left with. After a war that starts with betrayal and ends in total annihilation of the enemy, what happens next? Does that kind of victory lead to a lasting peace, or does the very brutality required to win it just plant the seeds for the next war?